Suggestions have, however, been made to the Election Commission that a chief electoral officer appointed under the present system might find himself to be too much under the control of the state government, and that he might not sometimes be free to act independently in his capacity as the chief electoral officer, particularly in respect of matters which have a direct or indirect bearing on questions involving a political complexion or implication. It has been represented that there is a risk of his acting as a mere mouthpiece of the state government in such matters, and of the Commission being deprived of the benefit of dispassionate and independent advice, as also of objective reports which the chief electoral officer might feel himself debarred from tendering in the present scheme of things. The Commission is not unmindful of this risk, and in fact has at times felt that some chief electoral officers may not always have been able to express themselves freely in controversial matters. It is quite possible, however, to minimize such a risk by adopting a suitable procedure in dealing with such matters. The Commission has already taken steps to ensure that the chief electoral officer no longer acts or is even regarded as a limb of the state government, but that in regard to his statutory duties he may act more and more as an independent authority under the direct control of the Election Commission, so far as he has to utilize this state government and act as a liaison officer between the state government and the Commission. The Commission has always insisted that the chief election officer must be given an adequate secretariat status in the state government, for example that of a secretary, joint secretary or deputy secretary. Without such a status, he cannot deal with the subordinate officials with the authority of the government, and would have to go up to the department concerned in every little matter in which a government order is considered necessary. There would perhaps be technical difficulties in giving an officer imported from outside a secretariat status in the state government, in which case he would in the end prove ineffective in practice. The Commission does not accordingly consider it necessary in the present circumstances to depart from the present practice of appointing an officer of the state government as the chief electoral officer, and this practice should be followed.